Heartwarming discovery, undercover dad found pregnant girl crying revealed as a millionaire CEO. It was just another rainy afternoon in the cozy little town of Maplewood when Charlie, a dedicated mechanic and single father, decided to take a rare break during the day. The smell of freshly mown grass mixed with the earthy scent of damp soil filled the air, but beneath that, a different kind of tension tugged at the atmosphere. Charlie's heart was heavy, though, as he carved out moments away from engine grease and wobbling suspensions. He was always thinking of his teenage daughter, Emma, trying to balance work while being the best dad he could be. As he settled on a weathered park bench, a faint sound clawed at his attention. There, under a canopy of dark clouds, was a young woman, Lily, sobbing her heart out. Her gentle sobs pierced through the rain, and Charlie felt an unexpected pull to help her. Something in her posture, the way she hunched over, arms wrapped tightly around her knees, spoke of burdens too heavy to bear alone. He approached her cautiously, that fatherly instinct bursting forth, "Hey, are you okay?" Lily looked up, tears shimmering like raindrops on her cheeks. "No, not really." It was more than vulnerability, it was a heart-wrenching admission that sparked an urgency in Charlie to reach out. He offered her a tissue, an awkward but sincere gesture, and sat down beside her. As they talked, their shared emotions unfolded. She spoke of a life filled with expectations crashing down around her. Just a college student, she revealed her unexpected pregnancy, and Charlie's heart twisted with empathy. "I didn't know what I was getting into," Lily confessed, her voice trembling. The weight of societal judgment bore heavily on her young shoulders. Charlie listened intently, recalling the challenges he faced as a single dad, nights spent clenching his jaw over bills and the fear of not being enough for Emma. "You have to fight for what you want," he encouraged gently. "Life's tough, but you keep pushing through." In that moment, surrounded by the sounds of nature's downpour, connection sparked between two souls, each struggling in their own right, but as their friendship began to bloom, the storm outside mirrored the brewing turmoil of secrets yet to unfold. Charlie had no idea Lily was not just a girl drowning in worries, she was the unexpected heir to a multi-million-dollar fortune, a high-powered CEO of a company meant to empower struggling families like his. When whispers began snaking through the town, their friendship would become a focal point. Some admired her bravery, others cloaked her in judgment. As Charlie wrestled with this invisible chasm, he found himself at odds with feelings of betrayal. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let us continue. The tension in town swelled, and Charlie felt the pressure mounting. He was torn, grappling with the knowledge of Lily's true identity against the warmth they had cultivated. Could a bond based on compassion outweigh the constraints of privilege and class divide? Moments of silence stretched between them as he questioned what it all meant. It was like standing on the edge of a precipice, unsure if to leap or turn back. Then, just before a crucial community event aimed at promoting unity, Charlie received a phone call that sent his thoughts spiraling. The voice on the other end spoke of Lily's true intentions. Confusion engulfed him. Had he been fooled? The shadows of doubt loomed large. Would he choose to look past wealth and status and embrace the humanity they shared, or be blinded by resentment? As the rain poured down and a sense of destiny filled the air, the fate of their friendship and perhaps the town teetered on the brink of revelation. Charlie stared blankly at his phone, the words still echoing in his mind. "Lily isn't just a girl in trouble," the voice had said. "She's a millionaire. Her family runs the empowerment group, intended to help people in need." A million thoughts raced through his head, clashing like the tempest outside. His heart sank at the idea that everything he knew about Lily was built on what felt like lies. That he took a deep breath, trying to collect himself. The woman who had shared her fears and hopes with him was supposedly an industry titan. Who was he to her? Just another mechanic working his fingers to the bone, lost in his own struggles. But was he really just that? He had believed in her resilience, her determination. She was more than a title stamped on a business card, she had heart. In the midst of his inner turmoil, Charlie glanced towards the park's entrance where he spotted Lily approaching. Her usual ethereal grace was shadowed by a hint of anxiety, color fading from her face as she locked eyes with him. There was no need for words. She must have felt the shift in their connection, the rising tide of uncertainty washing over them both. "Charlie," she began, her voice quaking slightly, but the weight of unspoken truths hung in the air, thick like the clouds above. Charlie braced himself, knowing he had to confront her. "Lily, are you really who you say you are?" Taken aback, she faltered, her eyes widening. "What do you mean?" The vulnerability that had drawn him to her was now tinged with confusion. "I heard about your family, the wealth, all of it," he said, gesturing vaguely as if trying to push the fear away. "Were we just moments of pity for you?" The hurt in her eyes cut through him. "No. Charlie, please. I never wanted that to come between us. I wanted to share my feelings, my truth, but you didn't." He exclaimed, almost too loud in the quiet of the park. People started to glance their way, curious about the tension unfolding. "You let us think we were in the same world." And it was beautiful, but now he shook his head, frustration bubbling up. "We are in the same world," she insisted, the rain starting to lighten. "Everything I told you came from the heart. I'm struggling like you, just with different monsters." As she spoke, Charlie could see the fear reflected in her eyes. It mirrored his own, a realization that their hearts beat in tandem against the relentless waves of society's expectations. Could it be that their struggles were more alike than different? "Do you think your name gives you the right to judge me?" she continued, voice now steady but piercing. "I came to you because you were genuine, Charlie. You were there for me when I felt lost. I didn't want to be seen as just a name, a dollar sign." She was shaking her head, frustration morphing into resolve. Charlie's heart softened. She needed him right now, just as much as he needed her. Maybe this was their chance to redefine their connection on their own terms, beyond the labels that society imposed. "What do you want, Lily?" he asked quietly, the edge of his voice disappearing. "I want to be real with you and with myself," she replied, her voice almost a whisper now. "I want to fight for my family's legacy and I want you by my side." Those words hung in the air, heavy with promise and possibility. Could they forge a path together, or was the truth a barrier they could not overcome? As visibility washed away, and the clouds began to part, Charlie felt a flicker of hope ignite within. Just then, the distant sound of sirens echoed through the air, a stark reminder that the chaos of the world still loomed beyond the intimacy they were building. Was this the beginning of a new chapter for them? Or just the calm before a storm that would threaten to unravel everything? As he looked into her eyes, his own heart raced with anticipation, knowing that their next words could change everything. The air crackled with tension, swirling around them like the storm that had finally subsided. Charlie watched Lily's face, trying to decipher the mixture of fear and hope written all over it. Her resolve was admirable, but doubt still gnawed at him. Could he trust her completely? "Lily," he started, but his voice trailed off. A part of him was still battling with the reality that this girl who brought light to his darkest days was also a figure tangled in a web of wealth and responsibility. He searched her eyes for something he might have missed, a chance to grasp at the thread connecting her true self to the version he thought he knew. "Charlie, I should have told you before. I saw how you looked at me as just Lily, just a girl trying to navigate through the chaos of life. I wanted to keep that part of me untouched," she said, breath hitching as her emotions spilled over. "I didn't want your feelings to change because of who my family is or what we do. But why wait? You could have trusted me. We could have navigated this together," he replied, frustration creeping back in. For all her conviction, her moment of truth felt like a half-step. He needed more. I was scared, she admitted, tears forming in her eyes. Scared that you would see me as the girl in the glass tower, too far removed from your world. I didn't want to lose you. Each word tugged at his heartstrings, and Charlie took a step closer. Lily, losing you isn't even on my radar. But I need to understand. You're telling me you're fighting against something. What is your monster? Expectations, she replied, voice trembling as she clasped her hands together tight. Everyone thinks they know me because of my family name. They think I should be a certain way, do certain things. But deep down, I want to break out of that mold. I want to help others, to be a voice for those overlooked by people in power. His heart raced. So all of your work, all the stories you shared, they're true? Yes, she breathed, stepping closer until their bodies almost touched. It's real, Charlie. But it's complicated. I felt suffocated and isolated, like I couldn't be me. Until I met you, I didn't know who I was without the title. It clicked for Charlie then. The pieces came together in a rush of clarity. Lily wasn't just a rich girl dabbling in charity, she was someone who had grappled with an identity beyond the wealth and pressure that came with her name. His attraction to her strength had always been there, rooted in their shared battles. Maybe she wasn't so different from him after all. I get that. I feel pressure in my own way, he said slowly, searching her gaze. Every day, trying to make sure my world doesn't collapse while I keep my head above water. They stood in that moment, allowing their vulnerabilities to mingle in the air. Charlie could almost feel the barriers between them melting, a potential to forge a bond that defied expectation or judgment. But there was still so much unsaid, a worry curling at the edges of their connection. Lily, what if we can't find a way through this? He asked, the fear creeping back. What if the outside world doesn't let us? I don't know, she whispered, biting her lip. But I want to fight with you, not against you. I need you to be part of this even if it's messy. Please. Her plea tugged at him, wrapping around his heart. He could see a glimpse of a shared journey ahead, one where they faced the complexities of their lives together. I guess we're about to find out just how powerful we can be when we lean on each other, he replied, a smile breaking through the worry. But just as hope began to settle in his heart, the shrill sound of ringing phones echoed around them, pulling them back to reality. Lily's phone buzzed incessantly, breaking their bubble. She glanced at the screen, her face tightening again. It's my father, she said, a cloud of dread forming. He's going to want to talk about my responsibilities. Charlie felt his stomach twist. Was this the phone call that would change everything, shattering the hope they had just begun to build? Lily, he started, but... She held up a hand. I need to take this, she said, voice trembling slightly from the weight of fear and urgency. As she walked a few steps away to answer, Charlie felt the heaviness of anticipation. Could he bear another truth? Would she choose to embrace the promise they had made, even when the world outside pressed in? Standing alone, the air felt charged around him as the lingering tension from before took hold once more. What would Lily's next words reveal? Charlie watched as Lily stepped away, the tension between them still hanging like a thick fog. He could see her fingers trembling as she answered the call. The brightness that had caught the edge of her smile moments ago was dimming, and fear seeped into every corner of his heart. Hi, Dad, she said, the softness in her voice betraying none of the turmoil swirling within her. It was as if she was slipping back into a role crafted for her long before she claimed her own identity. Charlie strained to listen, feeling like an intruder in a conversation filled with unspoken burdens. Lily, we need to discuss the charity gala, her father's voice boomed from the other end, carrying authority and expectation, two things that had clearly shaped her life. It's not just any event. It's an opportunity for the family, and you have a responsibility to attend. Lily's expression shifted, her brows knitting together. I understand, but Dad, I might have other commitments. I've been working on some projects that they mean a lot to me. Projects? He barked a short, sharp laugh. This isn't the time to be experimenting with your hobbies, Lily. Your role in this family requires focus, not a distraction. Charlie felt a rush of anger on her behalf, wanting to leap in, shield her from the noise of high expectations that threatened to drown her out. He could see her battling emotions, her lips parted as if she wanted to protest further, but her father's voice cut her off. Think about your mother. This is as much about her legacy as it is about yours, he continued, the weight of familial duty suffocating her dreams with every syllable. Lily's voice trembled, the strength she had just displayed fading like smoke. If I could just share my vision, maybe then maybe. Vision doesn't pay the bills, Lily. You'll do what you're told, he interrupted. Charlie winced at the cold finality in her father's tone, feeling every ounce of control it wielded over her. As Lily hung up, her face crumpled, a mix of annoyance and sadness mingling in the air. Charlie's heart ached for her. She looked so fragile in that moment, the burden of her title weighing heavily on her shoulders. Lily, he started gently, closing the space between them again. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to put pressure on you. But she shook her head, a humorless smile flickering across her lips. No, Charlie, you didn't. I'm just used to wearing this mask, I guess. It's easier to pretend things are fine. Charlie reached out, brushing his thumb over her arm. You don't have to wear a mask with me. We're in this together, right? She looked into his eyes, searching for something. Together? That's easier said than done. What if I'm not strong enough to take on my family? The storm of emotions had returned, and Charlie could sense a tornado of fears swirling inside her. Lily, strength isn't just about facing the storm on your own. It's about allowing others, like me, to stand beside you. Let me help. Help? She laughed lightly, but it was a shaky sound. You have no idea what you're asking for, Charlie. The further I go into my world, the messier it gets. Messy is okay. Life is messy for everyone. But we can make it beautiful, he said softly, holding her gaze steady. You have gifts that are so powerful they deserve to be shared. Tears brimmed in her eyes again, and Charlie felt the urge to pull her closer. The moment felt fragile, like a porcelain figure teetering on the edge of a shelf, but just as he leaned in, a figure appeared in the distance, a tall man striding their way with purpose. The glint of authority shadowed his features. Lily. The man called out. She flinched, and Charlie's stomach twisted again. Charlie, she whispered, turning her head toward him. That's my father's assistant. They've come for me. Lily, wait. You don't have to follow them, he urged, a mix of panic and desperation rising in his voice. But she was already stepping away, pulled back toward that world she was fighting to escape. As she walked toward the approaching figure, Charlie felt something snap in his chest, a sense of loss washing over him. Even before she was gone. What was waiting for her? Would she find the strength to fight, or would she disappear behind the very walls she wanted to tear down? With courage building in his heart, he took a step forward, ready to chase after her, to pull her back from the gaping maw of expectation. Something deep within told him this was not the end, but merely a new beginning. What awaited them in that uncertain future. Charlie rushed after Lily, his legs moving faster than his thoughts, the fear of losing her propelling him forward. She was just a few steps ahead, her back turned, enveloped in the shadow of her father's assistant. Panic clawed at his throat. How could he let her go back into that world of expectations? Lily! He shouted, desperation fueling his voice. She paused, glancing back for a heartbeat, uncertainty flashing in her eyes. It was as if she stood at a fork in the road, teetering between two lives, the one her family envisioned for her and the one she secretly yearned for. Please don't go, he pleaded, his breath coming in sharp gasps. This isn't the life you want. You deserve to live for yourself, not just for them. The assistant, already reaching out for her arm, hesitated at the intensity in Charlie's voice. It was a small moment, but it felt monumental. Lily took a step back, her expression battling between panic and defiance. Charlie, her words were trapped in a current of emotions. I don't know if I can just walk away. It's not that simple. But it could be, he insisted, his heart racing. You have more power than you realize. You don't have to be defined by your family's name, by their needs or their plans. He could see the struggle in her eyes caught between obligation and desire. Let me help you find your voice, he added, his gaze steady and sincere. Just for once, think about what you want. What makes you truly happy? The agony of choice clung in the air as she stared back, weighing his words like stones in her hands. A tear slipped down her cheek, and Charlie felt his heart break at the sight. Charlie, she began, but the assistant broke the silence. Miss Stevens, we need to leave now, he said, his tone cold and authoritative, not unlike her father's. No. She blurted, surprising herself and Charlie with the strength behind the word. It hung in the air, a declaration rippling through the tension. Don't you realize it's not about you? The assistant spat, his frustration apparent. You have a duty to uphold, and running away isn't an option. Charlie's heart raced. He stepped closer to Lily, wanting to envelop her in his presence, a barrier against the pressure that weighed her down. You're not just a duty, Lily. You're a person with dreams and desires. It's okay to fight for yourself. A flicker of determination ignited in her eyes, mesmerized by the light of his conviction. Maybe I can try. But then, another voice echoed in the distance, one that made Lily's skin tighten with anxiety. Lily. Her father's voice boomed, resonating like a thunderclap. What are you doing? Get over here. Every muscle in Charlie's body responded with a surge of protectiveness. He instinctively moved to stand in front of her, prepared to shield her from that commanding voice, that embodiment of her past. You don't have to answer to him, Lily. You don't owe anyone an explanation, least of all, him. With every passing second, the walls closed in tighter around them, urgency thrummed between them like a fraying rope. She took a shaky breath, her resolve wavering as she looked from Charlie to the approaching figure of her father. Come on, let us go, he urged, knowing they didn't have much time. The cacophony of their lives was about to smother the spark that had just ignited between them, but as Lily hesitated, torn between fear and newfound courage, Charlie could feel the ground shifting beneath them. They were on the verge of something that could change everything. Finally, she grasped his hand tightly, their fingers intertwining like vines grasping for light. Okay, let us do it. But what if he tries to stop me? Then we fight, he said fiercely, his eyes shining with determination. Together. They took a step back, ready to turn away from everything that had held them captive for so long. Just when it seemed they could break free, a loud shout pierced through the chaos. Lily! You will regret this. Charlie felt her grip tighten around his as they turned, hearts pounding, ready to face whatever came next. Would they find the strength to break away, or would the chains of legacy pull her back? With the world at their feet, they stepped forward into the unknown, a new adventure waiting just beyond the horizon. Charlie felt the weight of the world pressing down as he faced Lily's father, his looming presence casting a long shadow over their moment of defiance. The old man's eyes were dark with anger and betrayal, every bit the dictator of a life he controlled. Lily, I said to come here. He thundered again, his voice laced with authority. Charlie could sense the storms brewing within Lily, the conflict raging just beneath the surface. In that split second, everything seemed to move in slow motion. As Lily's grip tightened, Charlie could feel the tremors of fear intermingling with her budding determination. The fight in her was almost palpable, like a flame flickering against the wind. Don't do this, he urged softly, his voice steady, as if trying to anchor her amidst the turbulence. You deserve to choose your own path. Lily's gaze flicked back to her father, his imposing figure framed in the sunlight, the weight of expectation hanging heavily in the air between them. The world around them faded, it was just the three of them in that moment, the two young souls daring to dream and the figure representing everything that stood in their way. Tears glistened in her eyes again, and it broke Charlie's heart to see her struggle. "What if I make the wrong choice?" she whispered, vulnerability bleeding through. "Every choice has risk," he replied, squeezing her hand tighter, willing her to see the truth in his words. "But living someone else's dream is much scarier." In the back of his mind, Charlie felt his own trepidation. He wasn't sure what the aftermath of their rebellion would be, but he was ready to stand by her. Whoever the price might weigh heavily on, they could face it together. "Enough of this nonsense," her father snapped, stepping forward like a tidal wave of fury. "You are a Stevens. You will act like one." The words hung in the air, saturated with disdain and disappointment. Lily flinched, but then the fire Charlie recognized in her sparked once more. "I'm more than my name," she shouted, her voice trembling but powerful. "I'm not just a pawn in your game." For a singular heartbeat, silence enveloped them. Her father's face contorted with surprise, disbelief flickering before the mask of authority returned. Charlie could feel the reverberation of her words echoing in the air like an anthem of independence, and it energized him. "We can leave right now, Lily," he urged, the tremor of hope pricking at the edges of despair. "You don't have to stand here and take this." The battle within her cracked just a little more, and Charlie could almost see the walls beginning to crumble. With the tension still hanging thick like fog, the assistant shifted, glancing nervously at her father and then at Lily, as if awaiting permission from either side. "Your whole life is ahead of you," Charlie continued, every word filled with urgency. "Let us make it yours." Drawing a shaky but resolute breath, Lily finally looked up at her father with a newfound strength. "I want to let you define my future. You don't own me." Her voice shook, yet she stood taller, unbowed under the storm of his rage. With a sudden resolve, she faced Charlie, meeting his eyes with fierce determination. "Let us go," she said firmly, and in that moment, the world outside faded away. The fear, the legacy, the expectations, everything lost its grip as they began to step back, ready to venture into the unknown, but before they could escape fully, her father lunged, desperation fusing with anger. "You'll regret this, Lily. You'll come crawling back." Charlie felt Lily's grip relax as she stared into the eyes of the man she had feared for so long. Maybe I'll finally find where I truly belong." As they finally turned towards the entrance, away from the shadows of her past, a thrill coursed through Charlie's veins. There was no turning back now. Just ahead lay the promise of possibility, and perhaps the discovery of who they truly were beneath the weight of expectations. However, as the door loomed ahead promising freedom, an urgent buzz vibrated in Lily's pocket, her phone, startlingly loud in the silence, that could bring them revelations or consequences. "What now?" Charlie whispered, his stomach twisting. The unknown was all around them, but what if this call changed everything again? Lily hesitated, her hand lingering in Charlie's, the phone buzzing insistently like a heartbeat ready to burst. She looked down, her expression a mix of confusion and fear. "What if it's him?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The mention of her father turned Charlie's stomach. "You don't have to answer it. We can go," he urged, glancing back at the doorway where her father's furious silhouette was nearly blocking out the light. "No, I need to know." Determination flickered across her face, almost like a sun breaking through clouds. With a shaky breath, she took the phone out of her pocket and swiped the screen. "Who is it?" Charlie asked, his heart racing as he wrapped his fingers around her wrist. Lily's face paled, and for a moment, Charlie thought she might drop the device. The name on the screen emitted an air of familiarity, a name that had haunted her childhood, lurking in the shadows of her memories. "It's my mother," she said, a little louder this time. "Do you want to talk to her?" Silence stretched painfully between them as the phone buzzed in her palm, the world beyond them fading even more. A part of her wanted to toss it aside, to forget everything her family had ever represented, while another part yearned for the solace that perhaps she'd find in the voice of the only parent left. "It could be important," she finally said, her voice trembling. There was a soft yearning in her tone, pooling with hope amidst the storm. "Then take it," Charlie encouraged, even as the knot in his stomach tightened. "You're stronger than you think, Lily." Taking what felt like an eternity, she let out a breath and pressed the green button. "Hello?" She answered, her voice shaky with uncertainty. "Lily, sweetie." "Thank God you're okay," came her mother's voice, laced with vibrations of genuine concern. "Your father he's been trying to control everything. I wanted to warn you." An icy tendril ran down Charlie's spine. It seemed like tugging at a loose string, the kind that unravels an entire tapestry. "What is he planning?" Lily demanded, her tone now fierce. "Honey, he wants to bring you back, to make sure you don't." The phone buzzed with static as her mother's voice faltered. Lily's eyes clouded over with confusion. "Don't what?" "Don't get involved with that boy." There was a scramble on the line, and Lily's breaths quickened as she clutched her phone tightly, her knuckles paling. "Lily, he will hurt you." "I know he will." "Have you lost your mind?" She shot back, adrenaline surging through her veins. "You don't even know him." The word stung, a reminder of how little her parents had ever understood her. But the truth was, she was terrified. Terrified of how close she was to finally breaking free, yet terrified that it could all collapse around her like a house of cards. "Lily," her mother continued, the plea in her voice almost humanizing the woman she had long viewed as a distant shadow. "Please. Come back home. We can fix this." But as Charlie looked into Lily's eyes, he could see the war unfolding. "You can't go back." "Not now," he whispered softly. "This is your chance." Tears brimmed in her eyes again, but the fire inside her refused to be snuffed out. I want to be a prisoner again." Then suddenly the line disconnected, leaving only silence hanging heavily in the air. Lily exhaled deeply, visibly shaken but resolute as she glanced at Charlie. "This is it. No turning back now." An anxious excitement surged in Charlie. "You're right. We face this together. Whatever happens next, we'll handle it." With a shared breath, both of them turned towards the door, the promise of a new beginning just a heartbeat away. But before they could lift a foot forward, the shadows cast by Lily's past loomed larger than life, the faint sound of a car engine rumbling in the distance. What now? The air thickened, pulsing with uncertainty. They couldn't ignore it. The name on that phone call wasn't the end, it felt like the beginning of something much bigger, something they hadn't even begun to prepare for. But was there still time to make the right choice? Would they find their way through the chaos, or would the weight of the past pull them back? The car engine grew louder, a heavy thrum that cut through the tension between Lily and Charlie. Their eyes darted to the parking lot. Shadows danced in the fading light as headlights sliced through the dusky air. What if it's him? Or someone he has sent? Lily's voice quivered, barely above a whisper. Panic crept back into her mind, gnawing at the determination she'd just cultivated. "Let us keep moving," Charlie urged, urging her forward with a light pull on her wrist. "We can't let them dictate what we do." He was scared too, but the flicker of something greater, hope, courage sparked between them. She nodded, and they stepped away from the doorway, hearts pounding in unison like a steady drumbeat against the chaos surrounding them. But as they turned to take that first step, a figure emerged from the shadows, silhouette sharp and uncompromising. Charlie instinctively moved a half step in front of Lily, his body tense, ready to protect. But it wasn't her father. "Lily!" A voice called out, filled with urgency but threaded with something softer. It was Ivan, a friend from school, his handsome face etched with concern. "What are you doing here?" "Not now, Ivan. This isn't the time," Charlie snapped, uncertainty skimming his voice. "Charlie, it's all right," Lily said, her hand finding Charlie's again, squeezing it for comfort. "What do you mean, Ivan? Why are you here?" "Because I saw you leave your house. I didn't want to interfere, but I couldn't just let you. I didn't know where else to go." His eyes flickered nervously between them. "Your mom called me. She was worried sick." "What? Why would you answer her?" Lily felt the betrayal cut deep. It was her mother again, this time reaching out from a distance, trying to sow doubt. "Listen, Lily. I didn't want to. I just got worried when I saw all the yelling and the shouting. I thought maybe this was a bad idea. You're wanted back home." "No." She cut him off fiercely. "You don't understand. I want to go back to that. You think she's worried about me? She just wants to put me back in a box, like I'm some antique she can control." Ivan's brow furrowed, uncertainty bleeding into his eyes. "But you could find safety there. Your mom, she doesn't know me." The force of her words echoed in the stillness hanging around them. Charlie stepped forward, feeling the need to ground both of them. That life wasn't safety, it was suffocation, Ivan. You know what she's like. You don't owe her anything. Ivan shifted, tension prickling in the air. "But you can't throw everything away just to be reckless," he countered. "Recklessness?" Charlie shot back. "Choosing your own path isn't reckless." As tensions flared, the car engine rumbled again, closer now, and the bright headlights illuminated the trio with an unwelcoming glow. "What do we do?" Lily's voice softened to a whisper, all her bravery seeping out like a deflated balloon. "We run. We can't stay here exposed," Charlie urged, glancing between Lily and Ivan, who was still processing the unfolding chaos. "We stick together, no matter what. We need to find our own future." The headlights swept away, and in that heartbeat, Lily made her choice, the weight of her past coiling around her but not choking. "Together, then," she said, gripping Charlie's hand tightly, looking toward the darkness beyond. But before they could step off, Ivan spoke up, his voice trembling yet stern. "I want to let you face this alone if you decide to go against your family. I can help you. We can figure this out." The air crackled, filled with urgency and unspoken emotions as they all turned to face the path ahead, uncertain but defiant. "Let us go," Charlie said, heart pounding. And just as they began to move, the car engine roared to life once more, and a familiar figure stepped into view. A glint of metal caught the light. Lily's breath hitched. There's no turning back. Not now. But something gnawed at her, deep inside the inkling that the dark shadows were just beginning to gather. What would they uncover next? Would they be able to chase their freedom, or was something waiting to drag them back into the past? The headlights bathed them in an eerie glow, making Lily's heart race as she squinted against the blinding light. The figure stepping out was unmistakable. It was her father, his stern face a mask of anger and fear. "Lily!" he bellowed, cutting through the stillness. "Get back here!" Her breath hitched again, but this time it wasn't just fear. It ignited something dormant within her. She wouldn't be dragged back. Not now. "Keep moving," Charlie urged, urgency lacing his voice. His grip tightened around her hand, anchoring her amid the chaos. "Lily!" Her father's voice sliced through the tension once more. "You don't know what you're doing. Come back." The plea in his voice was overshadowed by years of hurt and manipulation, and her resolve hardened. "I know exactly what I'm doing," she said confidently, though inside a tumult of emotions raged. "We don't have time for this," Ivan whispered, anxiety twitching in his eyes as he glanced behind them where the car sat ominously. "We need to go now." Ignoring the turmoil in her heart, she looked into Charlie's determined eyes. "I'm not going back," she declared, her voice stronger than she felt. "I choose this my own life." Just as they turned to leave, her father's hand reached out. "You're making a mistake. he called, desperation spilling into his words. This isn't what you think it is. Lily faltered for a moment at the pain in his tone. I'm not a mistake. The words left her lips before she realized it was her own pain spilling out too, pain from being silenced and stifled for so long. Lily, please. We can talk about this. His voice, now softer, was laden with fear. She could see it in his eyes, a flicker of the father she once wanted. But the moment ended as quickly as it came. Charlie's gaze turned fierce, breaking the moment. We've got to go, he urged, dragging Lily closer in the immediate danger of the situation. We can't stand here forever. With every ounce of strength, Lily pulled away from the ghost of her old life. I'm done hiding. I'll make my own choices. She and Charlie turned, pushing through the uncertainty. The darkness wasn't as scary as her past, after all. But before they could take that final step into the unknown, Ivan hesitated. What about me? He asked quietly. If you're going, I can't let you leave without knowing you'll be safe. Lily's heart swelled at Ivan's words, rich with loyalty and friendship. For a brief moment, it felt like a lifeline thrown into turbulent waters. We'll find a way, Ivan, she replied, her voice steady. But you have to trust us. His features set, an indecision flickering in his eyes, finally revealed himself. Then I'm coming too. The engine roared again, a menacing growl that ripped through the air. All at once, the lives they were breaking away from sprang forth before them, a past filled with control, expectations, and disappointment. Now! Charlie shouted, snapping them back into focus. They sprinted, the ground pounding beneath their feet as the headlights spilled their secrets like raindrops onto the pavement. Familiar voices merged into the night air, but Lily pressed forward, propelled by sheer adrenaline and a newfound resolve. In this moment, she felt powerful, all the weight of her decisions shifting into something lighter. But as they reached the edge of the parking lot, fear evened its score. She turned for one last look at her father, desperation etched in his eyes. A part of her felt sorrow for him. Would he ever understand her choice? Let us go. Charlie urged once more, grasping her hand firmly. And off they went into the darkness, three shadows against the waning light, driven by hope and fear, inching toward freedom. In her heart, a small voice whispered a question, just before their feet hit the road. But where will this path truly lead us? As uncertainty cloaked them, little did they know, the shadows weren't finished with them yet. The chase had only just begun. The moon hung large in the night sky, illuminating the path ahead as Charlie, Lily, and Ivan found their stride. They were chasing a dream painted in the hues of courage and possibility. Behind them, the shadows of their past loomed, but with each step they took away from that familiar parking lot, they shifted away from fear and closer to liberation. We can't stop now, Charlie urged, glancing back only once before focusing on their route. Keep moving. No looking back. His heart pounded, not only from fear but from an electrifying hope. An exhilarating uncertainty filled their lungs like fresh air. Lily, her breath catching in the cool night, was torn between exhilaration and an ache for the life she was leaving behind, the emotions layered thick like the clouds that had once obscured her vision. Where are we going? Ivan asked, his voice edged with the tension of the moment. Lily felt a flicker of doubt. I don't know anywhere but there, she replied, determination igniting in her chest. We need to find somewhere we can breathe, where society's whispers won't choke us. Charlie nodded in agreement. We can find a diner or something, lay low for a bit, then figure out our next move. The urgency in his tone mirrored Lily's own growing resolve. The further they ran, the more empowered she felt, not yet unrelenting in her mission, but willing to allow herself the chance to forge an identity distinctly her own. As they found themselves on the outskirts of town, lights dimmed, and the pavement changed to gravel. It felt refreshing, the crunching underfoot echoed freedom. There was a strange comfort in the world fading behind them, unfamiliar tranquility cascading in front. Each flash of headlights and every distant sound represented the chaos they could leave behind, but as they caught their breath, the heaviness of their reality swept through Lily once more as the doubts challenged her bravery. What if we can't do this? What if I end up back where I started? Then we will fight back, Charlie said firmly, his eyes meeting hers with unwavering conviction. You have power written into your heart. Don't forget what tonight means. But what if I can't find my place in this new world? She whispered, vulnerability slipping back in. You will, he replied, his voice steady and kind. And you won't be alone. We'll figure it out together. His words rippled through her, knitting together the pieces of fear and doubt. Ivan nodded in agreement, the world's bigger than your past. You deserve to live freely, even if it's messy. Lily inhaled deeply, letting their voices wrap around her like a warm embrace. You're right. I'm not defined by their expectations, I'm stepping into my own story. Before she could linger in doubt any longer, she pulled out her phone, every step forward rekindling her spirit. I have to call my mother, she stated suddenly. The gravity of the decision weighed heavy, but this was hers to control now. Are you sure? Ivan asked softly. She might just try and pull you back. Charlie leaned in closer. This is your choice, Lily. You're in the driver's seat now. The faint buzz of her mother's number ringing echoed like a heartbeat, kicking off a wave of apprehension but also boldness. Mom. The quiver in her voice felt like an adventure waited for a signal to explode. Lily, are you all right? Your father, no, she interjected, shaking her head as though her resolve could drown out her mother's voice. I'm not coming back. I'm stepping forward. I won't be a pawn in your game anymore. The silence on the other end sparked electricity. Are you listening? Lily continued, her voice rising. I want my own life, my own choices. I'm no longer afraid of your version of happiness. Lily, you don't understand. No, I understand all too clearly. She felt her gut twist but held steady. I can't hide anymore. You can try to control everything, but my life is mine. I want to help others, to break the cycle of pressure and societal expectations. You can't keep shutting me up. I'm ready to be real. With every word, the chain binding her past grew weaker, each syllable chipping away at expectations like rocks against the tide. She fought for herself in that moment. Who do you think you are? Her mother's voice hissed, a collision of disbelief and anger. I'm Lily. She cried, her voice echoing fiercely into the world. And you don't get to define me anymore. With that, she hung up, the rush of triumph surging through her veins like fire. Looking at Charlie and Ivan, their faces lit up with pride and encouragement, was like a breath of fresh air. Wow! You did it! Ivan exclaimed, his admiration resonating deep within her. Charlie's smile was bright, full of assurance. That's it, Lily. That's the spirit. You're on your way, he declared, swinging their intermingled hands in a victory dance. They laughed, a burst of delight cutting through the shadows as the weight of burdens slipped away. Yes, Lily breathed, a radiant smile lighting up her face. We're free. And in that moment, under the clear sky, freedom washed over the trio, each step marking the start of a new chapter, one guided by genuine desires, laughter echoing in its fabric. As the night wrapped around them, they would face whatever winds of change loomed ahead together. With hearts intertwined, they embraced the adventure waiting just beyond the horizon, ready to step into whatever the sun would unveil at dawn. One thing was crystal clear, there was nothing stronger than the foundation of freedom they were carving. Lily walked forward, holding on to the truth that she was her own, and this journey was just the beginning of a story yet to unfold. Don't forget, this is the moment to support the channel. Subscribe immediately to not miss the next exclusive stories that will inspire you. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your engagement matters. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this electrifying ending. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation. Let us build this community together. Your support means everything.